Jeff here from Jeff's DIY, and today we're going to build a farmhouse dining table. So my friend wanted a dining room table for his new apartment. He found that the ones online are kind of expensive and weren't quite the right style he's looking for. So we decided to build it on our own. Now this project is pretty cool and pretty easy to do because it doesn't require a lot of different tools and all the lumber you can find at your local big hardware stores. Another cool thing is you can stain or paint or change the design and size of the table however you like, and the benches really do save a bit of room and space compared to chairs. So with that being said, let's get into the project.
The table and benches are made primarily out of 4x4s, with the tabletops with wider 2x10s and 2x8s. The most important part is to make sure that all the boards that will make up the tabletops and bench tops are as straight and flat as possible and don't have a ton of knots or defects. This is just going to make things a ton easier, save a lot of time sanding, and avoid having gaps when you do join the boards together. You can get more mileage out of some of your boards and reduce waste by having them cut in the store. Check out the link in the video description if you want the full cut list and product plan. Back to the underground woodworking layer. Next, we'll be cross-cutting almost all of the boards to length. The only things you shouldn't be cutting here are the bench top and the tabletop. Those will get trued up later. A miter saw table with a stop block really helps to make these repetitive cuts. Learn how to build your own by checking out my video. Just measure, set your stop block, and make your cuts. And avoid running afoul of the circuit breaker gods. For the angled table supports, simply set your miter gauge to 45 degrees and repeat this process. Make sure that each board has a mitered 45-degree cut on each side. Now it's time to add a little bit more style to your table and benches. I like to use this little round-over design. You can either use the template in my product plans or create one on your own. Just use something with a round edge like a coffee can and trace it onto a piece of scrap and then cut it so you can use it as a template. Then just transfer the lines from the template to the pieces you need to cut. Making these curved cuts is strictly optional. If you want to take a more diagonal or boxy approach, you can go ahead and do that on the table saw or your miter saw. But the bandsaw or a jigsaw works great for these kind of cuts. Save on sanding time by cutting relief cuts before your final pass. These are perpendicular cuts that allow your bandsaw blade to move and not get pinched while making these tight curves. And smoother cuts equals less sanding. Remember that the smaller the width of your bandsaw blade, the tighter a curve it can cut. Lay out your pieces and see how they fit. Use some scrap 2x4 and trace out a line to cut. These are going to be the notches that allow the cross supports to rest underneath the table. Cut out the notches with several passes on the bandsaw. Now we're going to work on the table and bench tops. Lay out all the boards and mark so you can see what direction the grain is facing. Here, the grain is all facing up. What you want is to have them alternating. You don't want two boards next to each other with grain facing the same direction. The trick here is to make sure the grain is alternating, but also make sure that you have the best looking sides that will make your tabletop facing up. The reason why this is important is that if the boards end up warping or cupping, they're going to do so in the direction that the grain is facing. So if you have them all facing the same direction, it will amplify the warping and make your tabletop not flat. Almost. This is why it's a good idea to mark the boards and the edges. We ripped a 1/4 inch off of all the interior edges of the boards for the table and bench top so that they would fit together flushly and seamlessly. I also really like to use a magnetic featherboard to hold the board in place during the cut. When ripping long boards like these, it's much safer and more accurate if you use two people and a roller support to help guide you. Push the board through at a consistent speed and push it flat against the table. Then just repeat this process for all the boards on the tabletop and the bench tops. We sanded the bench and tabletops up to 220 and the rest of the table up to 180 since it's more of a rustic piece. Now we get to start assembling. Get your pieces together for the trestle side support and check your fit and finish. We'll be drilling some recesses and using 3.5-inch decking screws to secure all of these 4x4s. You'll want each decking screw to bite into the next board by about 3/4 inch or more. So mark how far you need to recess it and use some masking tape on your drill to set the proper depth. Then use your impact driver and put at least 2 screws in each connection point. 3 is better. I also found that by adding a small metal washer underneath each decking screw really helps it to grip the wood and creates a much stronger connection. I recommend using that for all. With all the long decking screws in this project, you're really going to appreciate using an impact driver. Pre-drill and use the smaller decking screws when attaching the feet to the bottom of the table. Repeat this for both table supports and then you're ready to start putting the table together. Also assemble the bases of the benches. The next piece to assemble is going to be the stretcher, which both supports the table and acts as a footrest. This is secured by 2 decking screws from the outside of the support. When first designing this table, I wanted it to come apart, so I originally used furniture bolts to attach this part and some other parts. However, they didn't really hold up, they didn't have enough strength, and then I tried the decking screws and it actually held together pretty darn well, so I just kept those instead. And the table can still be disassembled with an impact driver. Then line up the 2x4 cross supports into the notches and attach them with some more decking screws. Prep the edges of the tabletop and the bench top by lightly sanding them. You can join the boards together by clamping them and gluing them, or you can use a Craig jig, which I prefer because it's a lot faster. I put the pocket holes within a few inches on each side where the final edges would be, and then evenly spaced them about a foot apart throughout. Now when attaching the tabletop, you want to put a lot of downward pressure. It's also important to make sure you're pushing the boards against a very flat surface like a workbench. This will make the tabletop as flat as possible and really save on sanding time later. Do the same steps again for the bench tops. We'll now be cutting the tabletop and the bench tops to the proper length. This is done pretty easily by putting the tabletops on some sawhorses and cutting them with a circular saw. If you want to learn how to build some super easy sawhorses, check out my link in the video description. I like to clamp down a piece of plywood to make a fence for this cut. Next, the final assembly of the benches. So if you want to build your own farmhouse table with benches, I've created a PDF plan that's available at my website and in the description below. It includes the cut list, dimensions, tools, materials, as well as some 3D diagrams so you can see what's going on at different angles. Now if you don't like the look of these holes on your finished product, you can always fill them in with glue and a dowel, and then cut and then sand them flush. Just keep in mind for transportation purposes, once you do that, it'll be very difficult to take that piece apart. So with the benches completed, the tabletop completed, as well as the base, the last stage is to finish the table. Here we used a coat of wood conditioner, followed by 2 coats of wood stain, followed up by 3 to 5 coats of polyacrylic water-based finish. Since this is going to be a dinner table, it makes sense to put a lot of coats of the polyacrylic on the tabletop and the bench tops. but you can do it however you like. You can paint the table, use different stain colors, different finishing techniques. That's the beauty of doing it yourself. So I really hope that this project helped to inspire you to build your own farmhouse table. And I want to hear from you. Have you built one of these before? What kind of finish did you do? What kind of challenges did you have? Let me know in the comments below. So as always, if you liked what you saw, rain devastation down upon that like button. To all my subscribers, I appreciate you. If not, please consider it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. It really helps us get the word out.